hope we are doing well. Let's get ourselves set up. Okay. Today is our day for tangling. I'm keeping my hand here so I know, where that's going to be. All right. For those of you that celebrate the holidays during this time, I hope you're having a wonderful holiday with friends and family, and even those furry bots. But yes, I still decided to come on yesterday. I was with my sister, and we just had a nice, relaxing time. Today, it is all about the tangling. So, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to, I'm going to show you the letter. Gemma, good morning. How are you doing? We are going to tangle today. And we are going to start out with the letter. And you've seen a couple projects that I've done with the letter. I mean, you've seen, what my Be Right Back sign looks like. Uh, here are the letters, and then we've got these outlines and so forth. You don't have to worry about the tangles that come around with it. It's a technique that's just with the letters, and we're going to do just the basic when it comes to a letter. Here's another project that I did when it came to this style. Now this is a little different when it comes to the lettering style. We're really filling up the background when it comes to our tangles. So we're kind of putting that letter there, and I'm having a tangle cross over it, and we're adding even more details around it, specifically in the auras. And just like anything with Zentangle, there's no limits, there's no rules, and there's no mistakes. So you can have this come out as large as you want. Um, and then I just make sure that I just pull in. These are the things that I'm usually asking or asked for when I'm requested to do one of these. So we're going to start out with our letter. Now, how I get... Cordelia, good morning. So how I usually start out with my letter, I'm just going to put this back in its sleeve because it is for someone. Okay. Let me slide that back. There we go. I always just go on to my Word in my computer. And I choose I think it's Old Book Antigua. I think that's how it says. And I just pull out um, my letter. So we're going to use a K for today. Let me get my drink here. And hopefully I don't spill this, because I'm sure we'll put that here. So that'll make noise because I'll bump into it. Okay. And I just print it down and I really enlarge it. I bold. Now you can certainly draw your own letter as well if you want something different. There's no rules on this process. And we're going to put this down onto our tile. So I have a 6x6 tile, and this is just piece of, I think it's that You Create watercolor. I really like it. I think it's great to tangle on. It's a great alternative, and when you buy one box, it will literally last forever. So that's what I'm going to use. And to get just this down on there, because I'll never be able to draw that again, I'm just going to take a pencil, if we remember how we did this, and I'm just going to put some graphite on the other side, and then we'll just take a pencil and get that down onto our tile. So the letter process in Zentangle, it's a lot of R-ing, where we follow the shape. And create that. All right, and now I'm just going to eyeball this into the center. And then I'm going to make sure that my graphite's got a point, and I'm just going to sketch along this letter. Now, you could use, carbon paper, specifically for drawing. I find when I use it, I get marks all over, and hopefully this won't shift now that I've moved, because I forgot to change my glasses. And I'm just making sure that this template doesn't move. If it does, it's okay. And I'm just simply loosely sketching the letter. And it can be any letter, of course. I'm using, of course, the K for my last name. It could be the person's first name. It could be their high school. I did one of those for my nephew. But this can kind of create your foundation, and I'm really shifting this. All right, let's see how bad we're off. We're not. Now, you can barely see that. I know that. And that's okay, because now I'm going to go over this. But it just puts a nice faint line. And I don't get the smudges all over. Just like with everything, we turn our tile. And we're just going to connect these back together. And what's nice, since it's so light, you're adding your touches to that letter as well. There we go. Now we've got our letter there. And I do always retrace it. Now you can certainly save this. And what's nice in Word, you can change the size, whatever it is, you want to do, you can do that. Now I'm going to come in with a very thick liner. And I think I'm going to use my PM today. So I'm going to have that. And this is a graphic one in the Micron line. It's a very thick liner. And we are now going to line this. And again, you want to take your time. always take your time. Nothing is ever a race. And once again, if you hear that snoring, that is Max. And this can just be the letter that you choose, because Word has many different styles. You can even embellish that letter if you want. You can add to it. So now we have that outlined. And I do those 3 steps. I mean, you can skip the middle one when you're just working on this, but even when I'm just doing this, I do those 3 steps. I think it's just because it's a habit that I've developed. Linda, hello. How are you doing? Happy Easter to you too. Holly, good morning. Happy Easter to you. Never apologize. So I want everyone to know that Sean Manley with Manly Made Minute, he's actually going live right now as well. So I'm okay if you want to step away from here. The replay will be available to go watch him. He's actually showing and will be working with my stamps, the new launch of stamps that we are still pre-order in. So if you wanted to check him out, I encourage you to do so. So yes, please, I would not be offended at all in any way. Okay, so here what I am going to do, I'm going to add to this letter, and I'm just going to add these curves and then connect them in, just to give it a different look. And I'm going to do that on all the edges. And then I'm rounding them. And again, this is just adding to the letter itself. This is not, we're not tangling yet. Just want to change the look of it just a little bit. Giving it maybe like a metallic, a metal type look. Imagine that. All right. And then we do ink the letter in, because the letter is our focal point, and you can see why I chose this pen. Whenever we ink, could you imagine doing this with a size 1 or even the PN? Now, sometimes I will use those liners because it does calm you down. But you can see just how much faster I would still be, just starting up there if I used the other liners. And then after we're done our letter, we'll be working on another project. So I'm sorry you're hearing these strokes. I'm trying to go as light as I can. So I have, in the meantime, I've been working on the cards. for the launch. And that'll be next Sunday, the 12th. So I'll be showing all of the cards that I made, and then we're going to make a couple cards, and you get to choose which card if you want to see how, okay, how did you do that? So that will be next Sunday. And then later tonight, I'm going to have a video that's coming out which is going to showcase Sabrina from Scrappy Tail Crafts, her new release. Good place. I always say that, I know, but it's true. What comes out of her mind is wonderful. Okay, so there you go. So now we've got this metallic looking K, and you can, I mean, you'll see this. I mean, you can go over, and it doesn't bleed through. You can go over it again if you want that darker. But now I am going to switch over to my black pen. And when you're doing, now this same technique will work with an image, any image that you already have in your stash, whether it's a teddy bear, whether it's a floral, whatever image you have, you can do this technique. And that's what's really cool, because not only are you stamping and coloring, but now you're going to add your own line work to it. And what you want to do is, we're now going to aura this image. And I think first, no, I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to start auraing my image. Again, you always make sure that we turn our tile. And if you keep, when you keep tangling, you'll develop, okay, is it easier for me to tangle or to aura away from me? Is it easier for me to aura towards me? You'll make that determination for what's more comfortable for you. And again, you just take your time with this. And if they touch, they touch. We do the draw behind. And you can see, by just doing this, we've already changed the look of the tangle, or of the letter, I should say. Now I'm going to stop here because I know that this is going to cross over. our first aura is done. Good morning, Gwen. How are you? Happy Easter if you celebrate. I have seen days 1 and 2 of Project Pack 29. Hello, Biddy. No, I'm not working through the whole alphabet. Biddy, you're funny. We're just going to do this one, and then we're going to work on another project. So, but that's what you want to do. You aura your first. Now, fescue is going to come into this. And we just have these little fescues that come out. So what you want to do is you want to look at your letter, and we're just going to come off of that aura line. And I like to go in the direction the way the curve is going, if that makes sense. Now, you don't have to come off the curves. It is just easier when we do that. Again, there's no rules. And then we ink our fescues in. But you can see they're just coming off. So I'm retracing that line. And bringing these fescues in. They can be long, they can be short. You can pull in a double one as well if you wanted to. So like if I wanted to do one here, I can have a shorter one here, and then right off the same path, have it go the opposite way. All right, so it looks like we're creating this bug. It's just a bug. And again, you can have as many or as little as you want. Different sizes work well because then it doesn't take over. All right, and that's just the fescue that's coming off those curves. Oh, nice. 6, and we took it easy, Betty. Just saying. Just saying. Now what we're going to do, let me grab this here because it's in my way. Now, what I like to do at this point is I like to just make sure that these are rounded to a point. So like I'm waiting in this area here. And I'm going to come off this one. So it's almost like I'm closing it off from the curve. So here again, I'm going to come down and just connect on the other side of that curve, if that makes sense. Some will be larger than others, but it's almost like adding just a little bit of weight. And again, that's the beauty of Zentangle, because we can add our own touches. We like to call them love. I'm going to round in here. And then the same thing here. All right. So even by doing that, you've created this different look when it comes to this. Now we're going to do another aura line. So now we're going to go around this whole piece and do auras. I like to keep them the same width if I can. If not, it's not an issue. And for this, I do like to see where my pen is going, especially around these curves. Now for this one, I can go away because I'm keeping the piece to the left. And if you notice, my hand is not, once it starts stretching out, the tile gets moved. And again, we just take our time. And again, remember, aura is just following the shape that we have. And you can see why I rounded some areas. While you can have points when we aura, this is like a smooth flow of your aura. Now we're going to connect. So that's our second line. And every level will make this look different. Now we still have these spaces in here, and we'll continue to aura in those sections as well. But now that we have round 2, and again, you can have as many as you want, now we're going to do more rounding. So here, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add an orb, and then I'm going to round against that. And what I'm looking for here are any sharp areas that need to be rounded. So this, to me, I want to round that. So we call this rounding. Some call it also adding weight. I'm just going to add a little bit of weight in here. And then I'm going to add another orb just tucked into that section there. And then round around it. These are the little bits of drama that we can add. I'm going to round here. So if you think your line is not straight, this is the area where you can straighten it out, because you can add that little bit of weight in there. See, I just straightened that one out. I'm going to round in here. And you can make these areas as big or as small when it comes to the rounding. And then I think I'm going to add another small orb right here. Again, round around it. And I think that's all I'm going to add there. Well, no, I think I'm going to add one more here. Because I did that there, and then I'm going to add another one here. And again, rounding around it. And now we do another round of R-ing through this. So we're going to do the same thing. I always do, when I aura, I like to start on a flat side and then start. And you'll see as we aura in some areas, like here, we're getting close. So this area is going to get closed off. And we just keep auraing around. And usually the number that I choose when it comes to auraing, it's either 4 or 5. It all depends on what I'm doing, what the design looks like. Again, it's one of those things where your eye will tell you, okay, I have enough. But it creates this ripple effect. And the shape is changing in some areas when we aura. And that's where we can do these different things. There we go. That is our third aura. So we're getting close, but you can see we've got this area here that's getting really close. I thought there was here's another area. So we're going to leave that one alone, and you'll see as we aura. Now here you can add more orbs. in your next level. And it's the same thing. You can just add the orbs, and then we round them. And then fill in those areas. And you can change the pitch of how far you want it to come out. And you can even, off of these, add another fescue. Your fescues don't always have to happen after you are the first time. They can just sneak right on in and say, I want to come and play. So we've got one there. And I think I'm going to add one here. I like the look of the orb first, because you can have them close. And I'm just going to have a little fescue coming here. And again, it's just these little different things that you can add. Add an orb here. And when you do the rounding, this is kind of where you're adding what we call drama. This is the only drama I want. And I just felt we needed something here to balance it out. And once you add those, now you're looking at these areas. Okay, is there an area that I need to round out? So I'm going to round out this section in here. I think I'm just going to do a large round out here. I could have added some more orbs in there if I wanted to. I like kind of how that's free floating in there. I'm going to round this section out. And this section. Do this one here. Add a little weight in here. going to do this one. Now, these areas that we're closing off, you can leave them alone. And when you would aura it, you would just literally aura it out here, and then this would just be open. And again, there's no rules. We can choose how we want to do this. So this is going to be the 4th aura. So here you can see we still have this opening, but we have this space. We're going to leave that space alone. And I'm just going to come in and aura right around that. And leave that area alone. Hello, Ave. Oh, I've only been on for maybe a half hour. Oh, I'm so sorry, Ave. Yes, so let me say again, so right now, if you wanted to, you could leave my live here and go to Sean Manley at Manly Made Minute. He is currently live, and he is showing some cards that he made using my new collection, and he's going to make a couple cards. I will certainly not be upset if you want to go check his live out. Mine, of course, will be available here as replay. I cannot wait to watch his replay. And again, just keep turning your tile. And you can see the letter just comes to life. I mean, I almost want to say that it's growing. This is organic. It's almost like an organic tangle. So here I'm going to close that there. I'm going to come on to the other side here, and I'm going to ink that in right away. So we have that, and then now I'm just going to come back out. You don't have to squeeze your lines together. Remember, principle of drawing behind. And there we go. And I'm immediately going to round that one. And you can see you've got these thick and thin lines. It's almost like the Tangle Diva dance, where you have these thick and these thin lines that are just coming together. Now here, I'm going to add a little bit more ink to that. We're going to round this one out. We're going to round here. So when you round, you're changing the shape of your aura. And this is a little different than the other letter projects that I had shown you. In those, I was adding tangles and everything else, so it's a little bit different. And then around here. Around there. And now I'm just looking at it saying, okay, is this balanced? Does it need something more? And no, for me, it doesn't. Now what we can do in here, we can round these corners. And then we can add one more here. And do one. And then just one more. We don't have to follow the same number that we did for the entire letter. And we can just leave it like that. And that is how, this is a technique that we use in Zentangle. You can actually bring a letter or an image to life. Now, can we add more things out of this? Well, of course we can. Of course we can. So here I'm just seeing, oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Mocha's going to come out. I'm going to come back in. You have these beautiful curves that come out that basically you've created, and we can build them into our image. So you can tangle around it. And add different elements to it. You can add a print tops in this space and let it fill up that space. Same thing here. And I don't go too crazy, but yeah, you gotta add some things, right? Here we can come off this one, take off and land, and we can add perk. And then you can even come off this again and give this an aura. And then just slide it back in there. You got that? Hey, Anthony, how are you doing? Good morning, Kalinda. Maddie, how are you? Oh, babe, that would be great. Reagan, how are you doing? And then here we can even round here. So again, you can have absolute fun with any image. Again, it doesn't just have to be a letter. But I think something so simple as a letter, you can make this come to life and just add these different things into it, and just have fun, with that image that you're looking to do. And if you just want to, I've had a couple people come to me to say, yeah, I can't get these tangles or this or that, and I'll show them this, and they're like, okay, this is great. And sometimes something like this is something that gets them used to it, and then their hand starts to move just a little bit differently. I'm feeling... So this tangle is called Sprinkle. It's a cute little guy. And just add these not so even little curves here. And boop. Thank you. And because I'm in a rounding mood, we're going to round that as well. And we just need to add another one here. Because I must be balanced. And again, it's a fescue. And then you come off the base of the teardrop of the fescue, and you come around and aura it. And then you just add the little hat. I never make mine even. I like to wiggle them around. And we got that. And can we ink in at that neck? we can do that. All right, so that's a letter. Now, to shade it, there's certain areas that I'll shade. I'm going to shade down the base of the Muka, of the sprinkle, and I'm going to go one side on this. Again, shading's nothing special. I look at the corners. Actually, I'm going to color that area in and that one. So again, let your eye decide, because it looks great when it's not shaded. So there's not too much shading that I do when it comes to the letters. When we add tangles, yes, I do all of that shading. But for this, I don't do much, and I really spread it out. And this is the only time, honestly, the only time that I do not go heavy with the shading. And I really, really stretch it out. And you get to hear this wonderful noise. Now, again, that's just a personal preference. There's people that, do all of their shading when it comes to this, but you can see I really spread this out very lightly. I'll put more shading in the orbs that I add than the letter itself. And that is annoying me. So I'm going to ink that in. All right, and that is our letter. And again, any image. You've seen me do that with my stamps, where I'll take one of the stamps and I'll just start tangling and R-ing around it. Because remember, R-ing, it's a technique, but it can also become its own tangle. Because it can make something just completely come to life. And that's what's cool about it. Remember, we always add our job. Yep, I changed my job. Sometimes we spend more time on our chop than we do what we've done. Just saying. Always sign the back. Yes, that is my signature. I know. And there you go. Our letter. Perfect. And again, I just got my letter Word. It's perfect. You know, you can choose, again, I choose the old book. Usually, I choose the old book. I think it's called Antigua, something like that. You could do um, Times Roman, Time News. You can do Arial. You can do that type of letter. And I do use the capital, of course, but you could use the lowercase. By all means, you could draw your own. I just don't use carbon copy or draw in carbon copy paper. I will take the printout and then I'll put my graphite on the back and then, you know, trace that on to get a light, and then I go over it again with my graphite, and then I outline it with my black ink. And you can see, so this is what the letter looks like, and now that's what it's become. So that's what I think is really cool, that it can come to life um, through the tangles. And again, to me, this is very organic, very botanical-ish. So yeah, it can completely come to life. And again, do you have to add the mucas? Do you have to have the sprinkles? No. Do you, I would just add some of these orbs. It kind of breaks it out. You don't have to add that by all means. And then once you get comfortable with this, then yes, then you can go into, here's my Be Right Back, where you can see I did it 3 times and then the tangles started coming out. And you can just keep adding all of these tangles to explode out of it. So it's kind of a good warm-up. You can see, again, I only did 2 or 3 on the outside. Once it closed, I did 2. I only did 1 here. So again, there's no rules with what you can add and what you can't. Within the aura, I added Knightsbridge. There's more perk. Oh, I forgot to. There we go. Look at that. Okay. Yeah. See, we can always add at any time. Um, we have these little tiny poke roots coming in. Again, you can build up to get to that. All right. So what do you think? But yeah, give it a try. I think you'll like that. Ave, I loved your idea. Reagan, I like yours as well. So give that a try. All right. So let's see, what time is it? And that didn't take too long. Just about an hour. Take away my gabbing, probably 40 minutes. You know. All right, so we're going to work on this one. And thinking, maybe with the holiday, or at least my holiday, Easter. Let's tangle some Easter eggs. What do you think? Oh, thank you, Maddie. Appreciate that. You are, I could see why you are, Kalinda, partial to the letter K. All right. Okay, I get that. So I do have templates for eggs. What did I say it was called? It's called Sprinkle. Sprinkle. I did. I said sprinkle. Sorry. And that's a Zentangle ink tangle. If you haven't already, I would go to zentangle.com, sign up for their newsletter, and then you can search, um, new tangles and all that, and you'll see some other step outs that they have. And I know on their app, they have a Zentangle Mosaic app. Where's my phone? I can't find my phone. Any other time I can find my phone. There we go. Let's see. Is it on this phone? Of course not. Where it is. So if we look, they have an app right there. It's called the Zentangle Mosaic app. And I hope I'm in film here. And then in here, now there's a free version where you can see a beautiful waterfall. Hopefully I won't get in trouble showing this. And you can just be inspired by all of these. There is also, and it just keeps rolling. It's awesome. You can also, there's a paid version. I think it's $25 a year. You all thought I was going to say a month, didn't you? And there you will get access to the majority of their step outs as well. They actually have a section called step outs where you can see those. Because once you click on this, it stops the waterfall, and then you can see Tangle step outs. And you can see other artists, you can like them, you can appreciate their work. It's really a nice, very inspiring app for Zentangle. It's really cool. I like what they did with it. Can you tangle on a stamp? I'm getting the app now. You go, girl. Anthony, what do you mean by can I tangle on a stamp? Put in a little bit more on that. Ave, would you like to? I can show you the stamps. I can do that. Hold on. Before we tangle our next piece. Let's see. I just got to move my notes. Okay. We can do this. So let me move these to the back. These are my notes because I'm still making my samples. Okay, so Ave, this one here is the Tangled Jewel. Let me see how that comes in. And we are celebrating our A2 card makers. All right, and then we have itty bitty fragments as well that we can play with. So very versatile. And then we've got Enjoy It All or Just Enjoy, Mom, Beautiful. All right, so that's a Tangled Jewel. And again, these are in pre-order right now. They will start shipping on and after the 12th of April. Here's the one that Biddy showed yesterday, Tangled Fragments. This one is really unique. It's funny, some of the things that Biddy had showed yesterday, I just started laughing, absolutely laughing, because I'm like, okay, our brain was right in sync. And then here's some of the fragments that are coming from this. sending a hug, believe in yourself, and for all you do. But this one's very unique. I think they're all very unique. And again, they will all fit on a standard A2 size card, but they can be adapted for the 5x7 lovers, the 7x7. This one here's a Tangled Romance. Very different here with the main image, and then we have a larger side image up here, and then my happily ever after, my one and only, and my love. So that's a Tangled Romance. And finally, I have lots of notes. This one we all created on our first Tangle when we were celebrating Tripoli, and it's called a Sunday Tangle. So here we have that image, and then we have two Toodles off to the side as well, having a lot of fun with these. This set just co-mingles with itself. And again, it's celebrating the A2 card maker. This is Celebrate Every Day, Bloom Where You Were Planted, and Always and Forever. All right, so those are the 4 stamps. Again, you're still in pre-order. And they will start shipping on the 12th. Next week in our live, I will be showing you all the samples that I did, and then we will make a couple cards using those stamps. And again, for those of you that just came in, Sean Manley from Manly Made Minute is currently live as well. He is showing what he's done so far, and he's making a couple stamps as well. And for those of you that missed Biddy's live yesterday, she worked with the stamps also, or with the fragment, the one that looks like a shell. She worked with that and showed a couple cards that she did with that. So I will not be upset if you want to go see Sean, see what he's doing over there. I cannot wait to watch this after we're done here. I can only imagine what he has come up with. He showed me a few sneak peeks, and once again, my head just shook back and forth, just being amazed. Okay, back to Tangling. Let's see. Anthony, did you answer? I have tried after I stamped, but I don't think I'm doing it correctly. Are you talking about tangling around a stamped image? Is that what you're talking about, Anthony? Center with the bars and circles is my favorite on that stamp. They're just, yeah. All right. So I have a template of an egg because my egg would not look like an egg. And it's okay if we use templates in the Zentangle world. So I'm going to put one here, and we're going to call this our string. And I'm just going to lightly go around it. And of course, you know, mine's got to be off to the side, because that's what I do. And then I'm going to put one here. And again, we're going to lightly draw around. And these templates are from a die. See, we can use our stash. And then I'm going to put another one here. And of course, I'm going to lay that one down. Do I want to make a small one? Or do I want to do... Oh, I like that small one. All right. And we'll put this one here. Oh, we'll angle that up just a little bit. Okay, here we go. And again, just lightly going around it. These lines will go away. We don't erase them. So I think this one's going to be to the back, this one's going to be to the front, and then this one's going to be, so it's going to be, you know, back, front and then lay down. Okay. So I'm going to grab my pen again. As a matter of fact, I think this one's going to be in the front. So I am going to start out by inking around this. And again, I'm just going to follow that line. So this is going to be our egg in the front. And what we can do is we can just, we're going to tangle inside of this. So for this, I'm going to put, and I have my notes over here. For this, I am going to do a tangle called, if I can find it, I found it. I knew I would. It is called Kiko. And it is a Zentangle ink tangle. Alright. Kiko. Now let's make sure I put this in the camera because there's always just a slight delay. Because I set this up too high. There we go. And I'm going to put a double line here. And what Kiko is, it's just a series of lines in counts of 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to do the same thing off of it, but going the other way. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to repeat what we just did. And you just keep doing that back and forth. So when I saw this tangle, it reminds me of a basket weave. Now, for me, I like to say, oh, that one's got 5, and that one's okay. So you can do it in sets of 4, or we can create a set of 5. Whatever you want to do. But it does create this really cool pattern. And you can see I am just winding around. But I do like to start in the middle and then I come across, because now on this one, again, we're going to go the opposite way. So that's how we build off of this, and you can connect into them. But this is Kiko. And now I'll come back the other way. And you can see it looks like they're just slightly C-curved. You could make them straight, but now it looks like they're just weaving in with themselves. But I do go back to the middle. It's kind of like how I can get myself grounded again. And yeah, did that the wrong way, and that's okay. Because now we'll do those that way. And it'll just go away. See, I used to worry about that. Nope, let it go. Won't even notice it. And we are on our last round. There you go, Nico. And see, you can't even see that boo-boo. Hello, Sean. I cannot wait to see your video. I was pushing everybody over there. Oh, never apologize for overlapping. Absolutely not. I told everyone if they wanted to, they could go over there. Absolutely. All right, so that is Kiko. All right. So here, of course, we've got to have a bow. And I thought this tangle by Nancy Domnauer. This is called Florabella. Oh. And she is a CZT 18. So this is called Florabella. Let's see if we can do this. All right, and what it is, it's the best way that I could explain it, it's like an open flux. So we're just going to put this on the top. So I'm going to put a flux here. And then we are that. Lots of R-ing going on today. So I'm going to come out. And come down. And you just keep doing that. And you can overlap. So like this one here, I'm going to go this way. And then we are that. So it's like these big, deep, loopy teardrops. I'm going to do one on this side. And then I'm going to do one that's going to overlap. Oh yeah, can you tell I'm having fun with this one? Okay, we'll stop there. Now I'm going to create a little ribbon that's going to come off. Just like that. All right. So this here is Florabella. Now, the way that she draws that, which I think is absolutely gorgeous, is she takes it up that way. And then you do this aura. And then you do another one. And you are that. And this is just a plain index card that I'm showing you this on. And then there's this, you have like this line that's coming up. So this is like the vine that's coming up. And I'm just going to widen that just a little bit. And let that go out there. And then you can do these loops right off of this. So this is definitely going to be a tangle that I'm going to explore a little more. Because, yeah. And then you can have this one that comes off like that. So she creates this vine effect that just keeps building on itself. So Florabella has a lot, and then it just keeps going. So really cool. Really, really cool. And again, Florabella by Nancy Domnauer. Okay. So now I'm going to add another row of something. because we can. And I think on this one, I'm going to add, it's called Tweed. Nope, it's called Hybrid. And again, this is by Zentangle. And I'm going to add another set of double lines. I'm going to come off of this one and just follow the curve, even maybe change it. I'm going to turn my tile because now I'm going to zigzag down. And I'm going to work on these lower ones. So again, we're going to do some aura-ing. I'm going to aura this side. I'm going to turn, and then I'm going to aura this side. Turn. So you go back and forth, just aura-ing each of the lines. And you end up with that design going on there. So we're going to continue through. You can make your lines as wide as you want, or as thin. This is very close to a tangle that Zentangle has called Between, or Betweed. All right, now I'm going to turn my tangle, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do this one first. Now you can also put lines in between. That's how a lot of people do this. Because you can see it's just literally continuing up. I like to just keep it continuing up. So we can see this many ways. But it's just another weave pattern. And that's the beauty of our tangles. We can do whatever we want to do with them. We can change their look. We can change what they're doing. And now you've got this other type of weave. Now, if you want, you can go in and add weight to these. I like to do it at the top part. And it just gives it a different look. Now, as you come down, you just need to make sure that you're doing it with the right curve. I just don't feel like turning my tile. Again, you just have this little spot, and it just adds that little bit of dimension. And that little bit of drama. There we go. And that's called hybrid. Now for our next one, I'm going to put a curve to it. We're going to come up and we're going to dip it up. Again, a double line. Here I'm going to do doodah. Doodah is also, I love that name, Doodah. It's also by Zentangle. Now all of these tangles, this is not a border style tangle, but you can see turn it into one. This is a border style. Doodah is also a border style, but it can be used to fill something in. So here you just create a line and you stop about 3/4 of the way. Now I like to add a dot. And then you do the same thing from the bottom and then add a dot. So you can see these dots they're gonna, go into a zigzag pattern. So I'm gonna put all of my lines in. And you can see with the big curve that we have, we're going to take on that angle with doodah. And it's going to get a little bit bigger. And we just continue the pattern through. And then just add the little tiny dots at the end. And that's called doodah. Can you see what? Zippity doodah. Yeah, see? Just say. Or it looks like a zipper. Just saying. All right, and we can leave that like that because what I'm going to put in here, I'm going to switch my pen and I'm going to go to a grayish brown. These are the Unipin fine liners. These again are archival and this size is 01. And I am going to put print tops in here. But I wanted it to be soft. And oh my goodness, is this pen dried out? I'm going to be so upset if it is. Oh my goodness. It's alright, we're going to go with it. So, there we go, we're just going to go over it again. Okay. Excuse me, I just well, some weighted lines. And again, just adding some big print tops in here. When we come up to the other one, we stop and we draw behind. I'll put those little fescues on the end. And I'm just going to do them on the one side. I'm going to leave part of our egg open. We don't always have to fill in all of the areas. Tangling. And I'm just going to leave it like that. All right. For this one here, we're going to give this one a botanical feel. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. Where I am going to outline our egg. I'm going to use a couple, don't leave that there. I'm going to use a couple tangles that we've always used before because you know Flux is going to come into town. Muka is going to come into town. Just saying. Just saying. Alright, and I'm going to take Muka off the side here. So I'm going to use the side of the egg for my Muka. I'm going to R the side. And then I'm going to have a big Muka coming in here. So when Mukas look like that, they're actually called kissing Mukas. Yes. And in here, I'm going to start Moon Pie. Moon Pie is also a Zentangle tangle as well. And you guys have seen it in my stamps before, Moon Pie. And Moon Pie can take many shapes. We're going to put a curve and a twist to it because, again, that's what we can do. So I'm going to have the base of Moon Pie come here, and I'm going to start it out like crescent moon with a moon shape. And we're going to ink this in. And then I'm going to aura that, just like we would with crescent moon. And then I'm going to do another aura, but we're going to make it a little bit wider. And in here, I'm going to put squeezed orbs. Perk. I'm just going to really get those squeezed in there. So moon pine, while it's a tangle, you can do these layers any way that you want. I'm going to turn this. All right, and then I'm just going to go over this line just again. I'm going to R that. And then what's going to come off of this is we're going to do little tiny petals first. I'm not going to do them as tall as what I normally do. I'm just coming off, squiggling, coming back down. And then flux is going to come in. Now it's going to go behind. And we're just going to keep layering flux. And again, the mucas are taking over, but that's okay. And here we're going to add little tiny orbs. And nope, this is something that I just came up with. So I get asked a lot. Sometimes people will email me or they'll text me, did you just come up with that? Is that something planned? I do not plan our tangles. Like I'll pick out some tangles or I'll come up with an idea. Like I knew, okay, I was going to do this. But I do not pre-tangle and see if it's going to work. That I do not do. So I'm going to give the illusion of a flux back in there. I'm going to ink in between it. Around in my mucus. That's Max snoring again. All right, so we've got that one. Could add some hatching lines. So that's that egg. Lisa, hello. How are you doing? Oh, that's okay. And I have no idea what I'm going to do with this I'm going to outline it. Well, let's see. Don't know. Don't know. Now, I know I pulled out let's do this one. All right, this one is called I think it's pronounced Zayon. Yeah. And it's by Carol. Cannot spell the last name. Coudurier. Coudurier. And she is CZT EU7 and 8. Go, girl. So yes, a lot of CZTs, they will actually retake the certification because no two are ever alike. So you always will learn something different. Okay. So we have Dayan, and I'm just going to put this on one side. So let me show you Zayon, because I'm going to do this just a little bit different. It is a teardrop. So upside down flux. And then you put another one in there. Cute. Right. And then we put this little girly cue in there. How cute is that? Right? So I think these are going to be fun. So I'm going to start, I'm just going to have them come up. So there's my first one. And I'm just going to put the base down of these. So you can see I'm like looking at it and saying, okay, then it's going to connect here and it's going to round here. But I want them to look like petals. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to put my base, there's the top, coming back. And then we'll put one more here. So now I'll come in, we'll put the second one in. That one's kind of coming behind. And then we'll put our little cute curly Q in there. And then in between, you guessed it, we're going to put our orbs, but we're also going to fill in some of these spots to just add a little bit of drama. You know, again, to make each one just a little bit unique. And you can fill them in as much as you want with the orbs, or as little. And then we'll add some fescues. All right, there are our 3 eggs. All right. Now, we've got to have some grass, right? Okay. So I'm going to do a squiggle line. Just because we can. I'm going to grab my chunky liner. Now, I'm just having fun with lines. To just get this squiggle string going here. And what's funny, whenever I do this, I always take the same exact path that I did before. Okay, so that's the bottom. And then we're going to come off this. So this is a form of vertigo. Usually vertigo, it's also by Zentangle. That squiggle line was not a tangle. That was me squiggling a line. Okay? Just saying. So vertigo is usually, these are coming out each way from a center line. But they cross each other. So I thought that they would look perfect as grass blades. Don't have to have a lot. We're going to make it look like they're going behind, because I can put them in front, and you're going to see how I'm going to do that. But for the most part, So this is also like Hollabaugh as well. Again, remember in Zentangle, you're learning basic strokes. You're learning these strokes that once they're put together, they are structured in some way. And they're creating a pattern. And that doesn't mean that that tangle that you learn, it does not mean that we can't change the form and turn it into something else. All right, so now we're just going to put a few in front of our Easter eggs. I'm going to pull in my large liner there. Now, no stress. All you have to do is just have them inked in. That's all. Now it's just quicker for me to do it this way. If I used my pen, I would just have to ink all of these in. And you're not covering up the tangles that you've done. You're just creating that illusion that, you know, these are grounded when it comes to that. And you're just putting this other layer down. It's kind of how we do layer. And then I'll come back in with my pen. And now we're going to add yet another layer. So very much like Hollabaugh, very much like Vertigo. We're just giving it another shape. And if you cross one of these lines by accident, it's okay. Because then you can just ink it in. You don't have to stress and say, ooh, that's not what I wanted to do. You can just ink it in. And you can put as many of these as you want. See how full you can get it. Make them short. Please tell me I'm not frozen again. It's vertigo. I don't know. It's just what it is, Gwen. It started out as the rice shapes, and then it moved into that one. That's the one I'm talking about. And again, just keep adding them like that. So now it's just got a little bit of grass that goes underneath it. All right, now to bring this one to life, you could just use your graphite. Absolutely. Why not? I think it would look absolutely gorgeous. Um, just with the graphite. I think the graphite really does a lot when it comes to an image. I'm very, I'm just rounding these corners. I still have rounding on the brain here. Um, I do very much like the traditional, and that's what I'll call it, traditional Zentangle, where it's just the white and the black. It's how it all started. But we are going to add some colors to it. So I'm going to use my chalk pastels, and the ones that I actually have up on my table for all my other cards are my Sohos. So they're the ones that I'm going to use. And we're just going to add some color to this. So let me pull out my green. I'm going to go with my light green first. And I'm just going to add that along the underneath of that thick line that we added. All right. And then I'm going to add another green. These don't have the names on it. I'm just going to come at the base of the ones that are open. And we have something coming in storm-wise. Who knew? All right, so I have that. So I'm going to get all of my color down, and then we'll move. So I'm going to use this blue for the centers. And I'm going to come around the outside. And then I'll go around that edge. Give them that color. The bow, we're going to make that very pink. So I'm going to come up from the base. And I'm just adding a little bit. Hopefully I can control this pencil. Because again, as you're putting down, whether it's your graphite, whether it's your pastels, whatever you're using to color, you want to make sure that your hand doesn't smear it. Because, you know, mine always does. Alright, and I'm jumping all over the place. So down here, I'm going to put this. And I want to mix it with that. So we're going to get a different color there. I'm going to add, because I do like the mixing of my graphite. I'll put that there, and I am going to put this on my Nukas. And for the petals, let's go with like a periwinkle. I guess that's what this is called. And remember, we do not worry about light source. Nope. I'm going to use I'm going to use two different colors on this one, actually. So I'm going to use this green here. Burp. For the base. And then I want to come in with I don't know what this is called. Dark teal. At the base of these. And I do want to come in with this blue on Doodah. And I'm going to go to the top and the bottom. And then I know this one, I do want to have a brown. And I'm actually just going to go around the outside of this. Heavier on one side. And then thin it out. Like that, and then we could try a purple. And that I'm going to go along the base. And I'm going to go down the center. Okay. I only use one blending stump. And I always have a scratch paper. So I will clean this off often. So let's see what we get. To me, this is fun too. I always put all of my colors down or all of my graphite down in one go for the most part. And then I start blending it out. Because you don't know necessarily what you're going to get and what changes you want to make. Now for these, I'm just going to come going to go up and down. Quick check the colors. Let's see. Making sure no one had any questions. Okay. I'm going to clean that off. I'm going to add this. Yeah, I definitely want to get a little more graphite in other spots. Just going to go up and down on this, mixing those two colors. So that was me tapping that off. I don't blow the chalk away. Shouldn't do that. Smooth this out. Blend out our mucas. All right, I'm going to flip this and do the ribbon. All right, let's clean that off. Now we'll work top down on the large egg. Again, I like to work with a space like this in small circles, just to get that moving. And when I'm going around an object, I'm going to follow that line. This, I'm going to follow that line and then come across with larger circles. Same thing with our purple. And here I'm just going to wiggle back and forth. I just want to get that smooth. I'm going to save that brown for last. All right, we're going to do the green. And we're going to take this blue. And whenever you put, even when you're putting your chalk pastels down, you do want to use a light hand. You can always add more, you know, same old rule. You can always add more. You can't take away. Um, and reason why I'm saying that is if you put like, you know, I can still see this line here. It's going to take me a while to smooth that out. So if that is, you know, possibly, you know, that could, it's going to bother me. But I've learned to let it go. Yeah, just so. So if you go light, you won't see those lines that you have, that you may have. All right, now we're going to do the brown. I'm going to start up by the top of the line, and I'm going to outline the A to get all of this moving. All right, and now I'm going to come out and just keep blending it. And what we're really doing when we're blending, we're pushing the color or the graphite into the paper and smoothing it out. That's what we're doing. So that's why, you know, we don't need, you know, like with alcohol markers, okay, we wanted to have that perfect blend. Or with this, we wanted to have that perfect look, like with colored pencils. With these, it's not necessary. It's just not necessary. I am now going to come in, though, with my graphite, and I'm going to put a line around the side of the egg that's over the other two eggs. This is where I'll pull my graphite in. And then I'm just going to ever so slightly blend that out. I'm not going to lose the color from the eggs, but I am going to gain the shadow. And I'm not going to bring it out too far. I'm going to keep it close to the location. And now that egg is just popped up. Okay, so we tangled Easter, or eggs, just Easter eggs. And we made our own designs on them. All right, now again, we've got to come back. We're going to find a spot to put my chalk. I'm cracking my knuckles. I am so sorry for that. All right, we are going to tuck my chalk back here. There. She's tucked away. Alrighty. So there you go. Our two projects for today. So we did our two things. So I showed you the basics, just real quick basics. When we tangle a letter or an image, okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be a letter. It could be a stamped image that you have. Now, the stamped image, all right, that we have, you don't want to use an image um, that is so detailed. You want to be able to round it. You want to be able to flow around it. All right, so just look at that. But you can also do this around a photo. You could take a photo down, put it down onto the paper you're tangling with, and then tangle around that, aura around that photo, or a brooch. Or for my sister, on hers that I did, she came back from Aruba and absolutely loved it. And she had a couple coins, she had some shells from the beach. So I incorporated that onto the tile. It was one of those opus tiles, 10.5 by 10.5, and I affixed them on there, and then I tangled around them. You know, I did the auraine, I did all of this, and then I went off into the tangles. So again, you can aura around anything. You'll know to say, okay, yeah, no, I can't do that one. That's not a good image. Let me use this image. So use your stash. Again, it doesn't have to be a letter. Again, I get my letters from Word, Microsoft Word. And then I can make them any size that I want. I can confirm the size for the tile that I'm doing to make sure that it's going to fit. Nothing special. Or you can draw your own letter. Don't everyone's shaking their head no. Don't shake your head no. Yes, you can. You can do that. All right? And again, so these are the basics. Now, in the upper tier, we're going to go further once we get to that, because I have all the project. Yes, I actually have all the projects figured out for the YouTube membership when it comes to tangling. Yeah, I'm that good right now. So we're going to do a deeper dive when it comes to that. Here, we just took a shape. You know, you can die cut a shape. You can trace that shape. That's okay. That's allowed. And then we can tangle inside of it. Absolutely. Yes, we can. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed today. Um, I had fun tangling. I always have fun tangling. I love tangling. And again, so next week, the stamps right now, like I said, they are on pre-order. All right, so here's time for announcements. So if you want to hang up, you can. This is when I do my announcements and my updates. Um, the new release for my stamps is in pre-order right now. They will start shipping after April 12th. So the actual launch of the collection will be next Sunday. So I will go live. I will show you all the samples that I did. And if you're there, um, you guys will be able to pick two where it's like, okay, how did you do that? Or can we see that one being made? And then those are the couple cards that I'll make using those stamps. Um, the project uh, for the upper membership on my channel here, that is going to be coming out this week. So you will see that. So you'll see what we do. And that's going to be a continuation. So again, some of the projects within the memberships aren't going to be completed in 1 month. They're actually going to continue months on end or be added to months on end. And this is one of them that you'll see. So this is going to be a continuation. So, and what's great is with those videos, you'll see a video here. You're going to see a video in each of the levels. So everyone's going to get a taste of what's being added to that project. And again, always look at the techniques so that that can build so that you can use your stash and everything else, if that makes sense. Zentangle just also released a new paper pack. I encourage you to go check out their channel. I will have it linked down below as well. Zentangle on YouTube, absolutely. They just released a paper pack, and they are up to number 29. I will be breaking that down in our first membership, with on this channel. So that's in the first level within the memberships. We'll be breaking that entire piece down, and we'll be starting that in a couple weeks. So we're just going to run a little bit behind. We will always have our Tangle Sundays here. So the first Sunday of every month, we will be doing this. I do know the weekend on the 19th, Sunday, I will be here. I like to say that. Cordelia gets very upset with me if I'm not, but I will be. But we are going to be working with die cutting again, just having some fun with that, creating some different cards, having fun with creating scenes and so forth. And tonight you will see the showcase of Sabrina's from Scrappy Tail Crafts new collection called Good Fortune. So that will be coming out as well. So even though it sounds like I've been busy, I've been having a ball when it comes to that. Um, but guys, thank you so much for being here today, especially on the holiday. I appreciate that. I hope no matter which holiday you celebrate, if any, that it's still a good day for you. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, thank you to those who are members, again, but grateful for you all being here today with me. I do enjoy these lives with you. I hope you all take care. Continue to stay safe and healthy. And if you need anything, you know how to reach me. Prayers will be sent to those who I need them, as always. And guys, have a good week, and I will see you next Sunday. Take care. Bye.